like to talk about maximizing your initial call to the office. So the situation at work is really bad, or you've been terminated and you're searching around the internet, you found our website, and you've seen a number of these podcasts, and you've seen a lot of our great results and settlements and decisions and verdicts, and you're saying, these people are worth a look. I want to give a call to this law office and talk about my problem. Let's talk about some of the ways that you can make your call, your initial call to the office, very worthwhile and very efficient for you, and can really help us understand the nature of your problem. There's nothing more frustrating than being on the phone with somebody for 10 or 15 minutes and then getting the sense that the call screener for the law firm really doesn't have a sense of what's going on. And we do a very good job here of making sure that we understand what not only the legal problem is, but what practical problem you're facing even the very first time you call. So these are tips that can really make this process go a lot smoother. The first thing you want to do is you want to construct a timeline for yourself before you call a lawyer. You want to be able to address when the first and last time something happened to you, and exactly what that was. This is really important because one of the questions a jury has during a trial, and I actually have had this come up in one of my trials, is how much time passed between the event and the time that the person brought a lawsuit or tried to bring a lawsuit but first had to go through an administrative process. That is a really important piece of information for our law firm to find out. So you do want to take the time before you call to build a timeline, and that way you can even send us the timeline before your call, and we can take a look at it and we can match the events with what you've said in your timeline. Another thing that's really important is you have to answer specific questions from our call screener. So if the call screener asks you, Mr. or Miss Potential Client, tell me the statements that the supervisor made to you about race discrimination, for example. That person is asking for that information. If you go on and on about how bad your coworkers were, you're not really answering the question. And there's a difference between statements made from a supervisor and statements made from a coworker. Everybody wants to tell his or her story. Every situation is really, really important, and we really want to hear that story. We just want to hear it in a way where it's broken down by legal elements sometimes. It just makes it easier for us to assess what's going on here and whether bringing a case is the right answer for you. Also, you want to send in important documents, and you want to tell our screener, Chander Rellan, you want to say, Chander, what we need you to do here is take a look at this notice of termination, take a look at this job evaluation, and let me explain to you elements 3 and 4 were not met properly, so my employer says, and this is absolutely not true, and here's why. And that way, when I look at your materials prior to our consultation, I am much better able to get a handle on what you're complaining about. You also want to make a table of the specific incidents that happened to you. You want to stay away from statements like, I've been harassed at work for years. You want to get to who's been harassing you. What exactly was the harassment? What did the harassment do to you? Who did you complain to about the harassment? Describe the specific incidents of harassment. All of those things are really important, and you want to take the time to make out a table, send it in, and again, we can assess in a much better way for you as to what the next move is. It's not always a lawsuit that you should be focused on. Sometimes a letter a complaint, some of these lesser things that we do for clients, but they really do solve a lot of problems. Finally, the last thing that I have to emphasize is the sooner you talk to an attorney, the better. People sometimes have really good cases, but because they waited so long to bring them or to talk to anyone about them, they either lost a statute of limitations period, in which case legally no one can look at your case, or they send a message to a jury that this really wasn't that important. So if you follow these points of advice, your ability to have a meaningful initial consultation will go way up. And correspondingly, the relief that you'll get probably will be a lot better.